When came out with the cookbook, here at Fox News, we did this contest, opening it up, because the cookbook is all about our favorite, the foods that make us happy. We had a nationwide contest. Thousands of people entered, and today you will meet the first winner. This is a woman who became an American citizen, and every time she has this cake, it makes her happy. And her story is amazing, and she will be joining us live this hour.
To make the cake for us.
To make the cake, and
So
we will
there will be
take the
cake.
So how many winners do we have?
We have 3 winners. We're going to have a winner this week where they come into the studio, another next week, and then 2 weeks from yesterday.
You're going to their house?
I'm going to their house to make them breakfast, just as I did the day that they launched the Happy Cookbook, which is, as you know, a great stocking stuffer.
Does everyone who won know that they won? Or are you revealing another one next
You will
week?
discover a nugget of that information within the hour.
Quite the tease.
I like that.
Quite the tease.
So anyway.
Meanwhile, that's going to be great. I look forward to meeting them. They might be even here already. Let's talk about Robert Mueller and what's going on, because the president's tweeting about it, because the Mueller probe has 2 people getting some very important documents today and reveals it is going to be Michael Cohen as well as Paul Manafort. And here's what the president just tweeted.
He said Robert Mueller and Lincoln Lion James Comey are best friends. Just one of many Mueller conflicts of interest. And, by the way, wasn't the woman in charge of prosecuting Jerome Corsi, who I do not know, in charge of legal at the corrupt Clinton Foundation? A total witch hunt.
And the Clinton Foundation, by the way, is in the eye of the storm. We'll get to that at some point. But they are being looked at right now for their accounting practices.
Sure, and the president did 3 other tweets where he does talk about Rod Rosenstein, the conflicts of interest with Mr. Mueller, and whether or not they will look at the Clinton Foundation. Jason Chaffetz was with us about 45 minutes ago. These are some of the questions that he thinks the committees up on Capitol Hill should ask the former FBI director today behind closed doors.
Comey said there was an FBI, they didn't do sneaky things and they didn't do leaks. Yet we have an inspector general report that says they were doing a lot of sneaky stuff and they were doing a lot of leaking. So there'll be questions about that. You also have an FBI, the upper echelon, that's in chaos. How is it that Mr. Comey presided over one of the most inept FBI organizations in the history of the FBI? And why is it there was so much bias and animus that was going on there?
All right, today's a very important day for several reasons, because many say it could be this Mueller, this collusion investigation. The special counsel might be wrapping up their investigation based on what's going to happen. So today, James Comey, going behind closed doors, he's going to testify in front of the House Judiciary Committee. He tried to challenge that. He wanted to drop this. He wanted to speak out in public. But then the Republicans agreed to make the transcript public and said he could talk about it after they hear from him. There's some other things going on today, too, right,
Exactly.
Brian?
We're going to get 2 revealing court filings that hopefully won't be so redacted we don't know what they mean, like in many cases happened with General Michael Flynn. But the Cohen sentencing, the government's going to recommend what kind of sentence Michael Cohen will have after he's been cooperating at least 70 hours, we understand, with the Mueller probe, among other things. And Paul Manafort, we're going to get details on what went wrong with his plea deal that caused the government to pull it back and say he's lying.
Well, and in particular regarding Mr. Manafort, pictured right there, it should spell out some of the lies. You know, if they cratered on his special deal with the prosecutors, why exactly? And the tantalizing thing about Michael Cohen, in the sentencing memo, officially it's going to be sentenced, I think, next Wednesday, but the sentencing memo should be revealing about what that man, who is a former personal attorney of the President of the United States, shared with investigators in the Russia case and also in the case in the Southern District here in New York, where he has admitted paying women who alleged that they had affairs with the man who is the President of the United States. So it's going to be a very newsy Friday in the legal world.
I think I speak for Democrats and Republicans when I say wrap it up.
Yeah.
Wrap this thing up.
May 2017, Brian.
Right.
It's been more than a year and a half.
Right. Over a 3-month period or a 4-month period when the president got the nomination.
Well, let's just get to the truth. Everybody wants the truth.
Right.
And whether it is through the Mueller investigation or Huber or Mr. Horowitz, who's the Inspector General, we need all the dots connected.
But I'm afraid that we'll have 3 separate truths. Although Huber, I'm not optimistic we'll get anything. Michael Horowitz might have a different conclusion than than Robert Mueller. And then we're going to be sitting there debating the documents that we paid millions of dollars to research.
Well, then everybody would be skeptical. It's like, why'd we do that?
All right, let's talk about Tom Perez.
Why did we do that?
The DNC chairman, Tom Perez, he was speaking in Washington about the strategies for the Democratic Party, what they need to do in order to get more votes. And then he was talking about how you, the voter, you are influenced by Fox News and some other things, including what you hear on Sunday in church. Listen.
I had someone in northwestern Wisconsin tell me, you know what? For most of the people I know, their principal sources of information are Fox News, their NRA newsletter, and the pulpit on Sunday. And it should come as a surprise to no one that our message doesn't penetrate, because that person on the pulpit is saying, ignore everything else that this person has done and is doing. We have to focus on one issue of Roe versus Wade. And people buy it because that's their only source.
So there he is complaining about the fact that the voters are listening to Fox News, the NRA newsletter, and people there in the pulpit. That video was released on Twitter. I think on that same thread, one user said, well, my pastor's opinion has more weight than a politician's opinion. And somebody else wrote, frightened by the word of God or just a little worried by the competition, according to the Washington Times.
Isn't that a good companion piece with Senator Hirono saying a couple of days ago, the problem with Democrats is we're just too smart. We're not good at telling everyone how smart we are, or relaying a message which we idiots can understand.
Or the deplorable comment about Middle America, or what they said about Walmart customers.
Well, you know, if that's a preview of 2020, I don't think that's going to work. Yeah. Just saying.
Go back to Madison Avenue. All right. Meanwhile, a Fox News alert. President Trump is expected to announce Nikki Haley's replacement at any moment. And
he's also apparently close to filling an opening at the Department of Justice at the top to replace our Attorney General, Jeff Sessions.
Peter Doocy is live at the White House with who is under consideration. Hey, Peter.
Ainsley, the president is apparently looking to replace an attorney general he knew really well, Jeff Sessions, with somebody he doesn't not know at all. That's William Barr, who has already been the Attorney General for President George H.W. Bush back in the early 90s, and he stands out among former AGs because he shares President Trump's opinion about firing FBI directors, saying that he likes James Comey, but that ultimately the president should get to pick who runs the Bureau. It is not clear if Barr has been offered that position yet, but White House officials have told us to be on the lookout for a tweet any minute now about a different opening. UN Ambassador Heather Nauert is set to become the president's pick to replace outgoing Nikki Haley. Nauert worked here at Fox before becoming spokesperson for Rex Tillerson and then Mike Pompeo. Her specialty at State has been explaining or defending the Trump administration's policies as opposed to shaping them. And it's not clear if an Ambassador Nauert would be serving in the cabinet level like Haley, but sources I've spoken to here say there are a lot of people at the White House who do not want this to be a cabinet level position anymore, following Haley's tenure where she sometimes broke with the president. Now, if Nauert and Barr both wind up being nominated, they will have to start preparing soon to become the first Trump nominees to face a Senate confirmation hearing since Brett Kavanaugh. Back to you.
And we know how that went. All right, Peter, thank you very much.
Thanks, Peter.
And, of course, we all know Heather Nauert. She worked on this program for many years. We all like her a lot, so we wish her the best. Next stop, confirmation.
And the thing that's great about Heather, it's 2 years in. So what she was able to do with Secretary of State Tillerson, who was shown the exit, and then in comes Mike Pompeo, clearly a better fit, was able to show that she was obviously able to show the president behind closed doors because of the access she got was impressive enough for her to be a leading candidate and now be the likely contender to be the next UN ambassador. Not a traditional way to go, but if you watch her in these press outings, when she's taking every question under the sun and answering with authority, and which she's already done in 2 years, I would, all these skeptics that seem to be lining up on the left about her, bring it on. When she goes in front of them for confirmation, she'll knock it out of the park like she has been for 2 years.
She's very bright. She's a good person. And we know Nikki Haley. She was governor of South Carolina, and she's stepping down. She said she's going to stay in that position until the end of the year. And then we'll find out, hopefully today, who that nominee is going to be. And it looks like it will be Heather Nauert.
And we do know after Heather will probably be Carly Shimkus, because Heather once had that job.
Oh, wow.
And Carly, you'll end up at the United Nations.
I guess the career trajectory might prove.
En route to the presidency.
All right, good morning, guys. And we begin with this. The search for missing Marines expanding off the coast of Japan. Rainstorms complicating rescue efforts after 2 American warplanes collided during a training exercise. 2 Marines have been recovered so far. One is in fair condition. The other is dead. Now on to a Fox News alert. Former Major League Baseball players Luis Valbuena and Jose Castillo killed in a car crash. The athletes traveling in Venezuela when their car hit a rock and swerved off the road. The driver, former infielder Carlos Rivera, survived the crash. Castillo played 5 seasons in the majors. Valbuena played 11 years, most recently with the Angels. The athletes were in Venezuela to play in a winter league. So sad. Senator Elizabeth Warren may be running for president in 2020, but her hometown newspaper is warning against it. The Boston Globe editorial board writing, quote, while Warren is an effective and impactful senator with an important voice nationally, she has become a divisive figure. A unifying voice is what the country needs now after the polarizing politics of Donald Trump. The Globe encouraged her to run in 2016. The board now says she missed her moment. And today marks 77 years since the surprising attack on Pearl Harbor. 2,403 service members and civilians killed in that horrific assault in Hawaii. Memorials will be held across the U.S. today, including a moment of silence at the Pearl Harbor Museum in Honolulu. American flags will be flown at half-staff until sundown. So, if you see a service member today, good day to say thank you, right?
Every day.
Every day.
Yeah.
December 7th, a day that will live in infamy, and still does. Thank you, Carly. All right.
All right, this caravan story sparking a new debate over birthright citizenship, a mother illegally entering the United States and having a baby on American soil. So what happens next?
Plus, on a different note, you know John Rich is a country megastar, and now he's joining the world of whiskey to help our heroes.
How can you be
that shot? I do it for the company. He's here live in studio. That was my beat, Steve.
Bring up the whiskey, Johnny.